welcome to Goa. Well, today we're shooting episode 2 of Ginger Hotels and Parental presents Stories That Stay. Well, today we're at the gorgeous Ginger Candolim in Goa. And guess what? It is just 4 minutes from the beach. कल हमने इतना सुंदर sunset देखा ना यहाँ पे. But you know what I really like about this place is that it's full of beautiful artwork and it kind of inspires me to create something. And now that we're talking about art and creativity, well, who better to be in conversation with than the art guy himself, Rob, aka Harun Robert. Hello, hi Rob.
Hello.
Welcome to Stories That Stay.
Thank you.
I am glad that we're finally making this happen.
I know, after all that planning.
Yeah. I mean, I have been so excited for this podcast, like genuinely, because, confession. In my later school years, I have watched you on TV. And I think a lot of, I'm sure a lot of people tell you this, right? But it's so inspiring to be, just sitting next to you and getting a chance to ask all the questions that maybe I had back then. So, in fact, I was just thinking about it, the other day. One of my favorite novellas is The Little Prince. And there's a quote in that book that basically says, all grown-ups were once children, but a very few of them remember it. And I like to really carry that while I am, living each day. And I think you really remind me of, that childlike spark and keeping that creativity, alive. So I want a lot of that conversation to come in today's chat. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Do you, something that I've always been very curious to ask you, do you remember pehli baar kab you had that chill of, I want to make something? If you go like way back.
Yeah, I don't know if I remember the first time, pehli baar kab banaya tha. But yeah, I started very earlier. When I was younger, I think I used to draw a lot and make a lot of stuff. I was inspired by comic books because we didn't have internet or smartphones, that we could watch content on YouTube or whatever. So for us, it was magazines and comic books. And I was very, very inspired by this world that was created, like this universe that was created in like these comic books, like an entire universe of characters and stuff, and it was overlapping between different. So I used to love that storytelling and character building. So I used to draw a lot of those characters and superheroes. And plus my partner in crime, my younger brother, uske saath milke, we used to build a lot of stuff. Because back in those days, like toys and all were very expensive, like these figurines and stuff. And especially like if you had to buy like an entire set, they used to come with like their fort or castle and like He-Man and all the other figurines. So parents were like, no, we are not buying this for you. So
and this is in Delhi.
This is in Delhi. I grew up in Delhi. So I used to build a lot of stuff. I was like, okay, I'll take boxes and make my own fort and like tie strings all around and hang my little figurines, or make like out of cardboard and all, like one Spider-Man flying from one side to the other. Oh, and my brother used to love it. So we used to do this a lot. And I think it started, at that time only.
But I can imagine this madhouse with two brothers being like Spider-Man ko idhar se udhar karwate hain. I mean, most Indian parents, I can't say for all, but like most Indian parents, for them, like, they will be like, बच्चा शैतान हो रहा है, right?
Correct.
बिगड़ रहा है बच्चा, हाथ से निकल रहा है, पढ़ाई पे ध्यान नहीं दे रहा है. माहौल कैसा घर पे? Like, how did your parents react when you did something like this? Were they like scolding you? Were they encouraging you?
Of course, they were scolding us.
Yeah.
Indian parents. कभी खुश नहीं होते.
Where do you think you got it from? Like, are either of your parents creative? Like in the family, do you think can you trace it back at all or no?
Like I said, my mom was pretty crafty. My dad also used to tell me stories of, to hota hai na ki, arey, you'll waste your life. I was also a great artist. When I have paintings and they're still hanging in my school and all of that. I never saw him sit and paint. Once in a while he would join in and do like, okay, like we have to put up a painting in the house. So unhone pura wo Last Supper ka scene paint kiya tha. But then they also call me and say, I don't think ye ठीक लग रहा है, you know, can you fix the contour? So I am sitting and doing the contours for him. So it was like that. So I don't know if मेरे family में कोई ऐसा है जो कि full-fledged artist है और creative. I think I was the first one in my family to sort of enter this field.
Yeah. Did you by the way, before there is some beautiful food that
looks amazing
folks at Ginger Candolim have organized for us. So please,
thank you.
While we are, you know, chatting, there is dig in, please. I'll have a fry
for sure.
Yeah,
thank you.
Would you say that you were a rebel as a kid, like at home to choose this career, to take this path? What is that story like?
Yeah, in some ways you can say that, but yeah, because it wasn't encouraged. No one, it wasn't even allowed, like, you know, because after a point they were very clear that you have to focus on your studies. And I was actually preparing for my medical entrances because they wanted me to become a doctor. So to enter this, उनको तो बताया भी नहीं था कि I'm giving art college का exam entrance.
Oh really?
Yeah, I told my mom, and then later the news reached my dad. You know, it was all of that. But when he found out, उसके बीच में, like, जब ये सब हो गया था ना, like, they also went to someone in our neighborhood जिनके बच्चे had studied, and they were like, oh, it's too difficult to get in. ऐसा नहीं तो अभी सभी लोग तो artist होते हैं, you know, वैसा वाला scene. So even if it sits for like entrance exam, उसका clear होगा नहीं. You know, you have to go for some special classes, and in Delhi there were centers where you used to go for these extra classes, and they'll tell you that entrance में ये आता है for live drawing or for, you know, illustration. Or I never went for all those classes. So they were like, इसका होगा नहीं. So when I got through and I cleared the entrance, they suddenly felt like कि वो Indian parents वाला scene है कि हमारे बच्चे ने तो कर लिया.
हो गया.
So that's how he allowed, you know, and he said, okay, like, go ahead and do 1 year, do your foundation and see if you enjoy this. But at the same time, sit and prepare for your medical.
So you were preparing for your medical?
Yeah. So like next year they did. But once I joined art college, I was like, this, now it's no going back.
I think Indian parents को बस इस चीज का जवाब चाहिए होता है कि लोग क्या कहेंगे.
Correct.
The second they get that answer ना, oh but अच्छी कॉलेज में एडमिशन हो गया, पहली सैलरी मिल गई, इस चीज से
I think that, you know, सबसे ज्यादा इम्पोर्टेंट उनके लिए यही रहता है कि आगे आपका क्या रहेगा फ्यूचर में. Can you make money out of this? And when they see that, okay, you know, you can, फिर उसके बाद उनको कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता है. So they saw I was really happy. They saw I was making decent amount of money. You know, because when I joined college, I saw a lot of my seniors were already working, you know, in the industry, like whether it was illustration work, storyboarding work, you know, drawing for magazines, books, murals, whatever. And they would offer, कि चल तू free है तो आ जाए. Like they would come to the canteen, like, I'm doing a mural, I need 4-5 guys to come and help. You want to come? And for us, it was experience. But at the end of the day, they would pay you money also. So you're like, great, you know. So I started obviously, and I was a saver, so I would save all my money and all. So they saw that I was making some decent amount of money. और अभी तो college join ही किया है. And then once you join, no, आपको और information मिलती है that, okay, you can join an advertising agency, you can join, like, you know, a design studio, you can do this, that, others. So then they were like, okay, there is some scope, there is some future in this. So I joined M.A.D then to study animation and filmmaking. And after I did that is when I moved to Bombay, because I was working at an animation studio in Bombay. And that is when I got the opportunity to create M.A.D.
How did that happen? I mean, at that point, I think it must have been, did you feel like this was a massive opportunity coming your way? How did it feel at that point?
No, to be honest, at that time, I was doing a lot of animation work. And it was fun. I had specialized in stop motion animation. So I used to enjoy, you know, creating a lot of characters out of clay. And, you know, I love working with materials. So, you know, to make characters with different materials and objects and stuff, usme maza aata tha. So I was doing that, and not too many people were doing that kind of animation in the industry. There were only few, some of my seniors, and I got the opportunity to work with them at their studio. So बहुत interesting काम चल रहा था, you know, like, and you know, when आप come whatever, how do you say this, like एक छोटा एक group रहता है ना जो ये सब कर रहा है, और आप उस group का part हो, so suddenly everyone knows you, you know, in the industry, क्योंकि और कोई नहीं कर रहा है, ये आप ही कर रहे हो. So everyone knew my work or the kind of work I was doing. So I was getting a decent amount of work. So I was very happy, that I've entered the industry. People recognize I don't need to carry my portfolio everywhere. They recognize my work and they see potential in my work. I'm getting all these opportunities. So I wanted to pursue that. I wanted to build on that and maybe eventually have my own studio and do this. So when I got the opportunity to create M.A.D, it was so new and it was so different from what I was doing. I wasn't really interested initially. Because I was like,
imagine had you said no to it.
Which I did, in fact.
Oh, you did say no to it?
Because when I met them and they saw my work, they really liked it. But I thought that maybe I might be designing the show for them or maybe creating like an animation package for them, or because that's the kind of work I was doing in the industry, So, and when they said, no, we need ideas, we need all of this, but we also need someone to present these ideas. And, till that time, I was like, okay, maybe present it too, because our Pogo's head offices or like the team that operated was in Hong Kong. So I thought maybe present it to them. Things like that. So मेरे को समझ नहीं आ रहा था कि they are saying present मतलब be in front of the camera and host it. And after like a meeting or two is when this came out. When can you come for an audition? And I was like, what do you mean? So
what audition?
You have to give the audition, like for the show. And I was like, oh, wait a minute. You want me to host the show? And they were like, yeah. We want you to conceptualize whatever, but also host the show. And I was like, okay, see you guys.
Bye. How old were you at this point?
I think I was 26, 27. So I said no. And one, because it was so new, like I said, and so different. तो पता नहीं था कि ये कर पाऊंगा, नहीं कर पाऊंगा, होगा, नहीं होगा, And plus, I was very happy doing what I was doing. Because उसमें I had studied that. I was an expert in that space, This being in front of the camera was... अभी तो easy है ना, because everyone has like a camera on their phone. तो आप निकाल के selfie खींचते हो, video record करते हो. Everyone is very comfortable. उस time पे ऐसा scene नहीं था. तो I was like, I don't know, man, like if I'll be able to do this or not. तो करूँगा, fail हो जाएगा, ये show नहीं बनेगा, time waste होएगा. तो इससे अच्छा like let me pick up projects that I'm good at and focus on that. But I think they saw some potential in me, जो कि मुझे नहीं था कि मेरे पास है ऐसा.
What made you say yes?
So they called me again and they said, we really like your work and the ideas that you are bringing to the table, and we would really encourage you to just give it a shot. And also, I think even my the appearance, maybe. When I had gone, I was almost like this. Like I was
you used to wear a cap.
I was wearing a bandana. I had long hair. I had like piercings. I was wearing these oversized pants. And so I didn't look like a traditional artist, या जो लोगों का वो stereotypical look रहता है कि, simple kurta, वैसा, I was a cool kid in a way. So I think they felt that this look might work really well for the show. Plus, they liked what I was doing, the kind of work, because like I said, I was really good at building these armatures and models and puppets and things like that. And I was good at drawing. So I had a mix of like, I could do 3D stuff also, I could do drawings also. Plus, so maybe they felt like I'm a good package in a way. So they said, like, please come for the audition, give an audition. But when I met them, they gave me like a script. And I said, वैसे मेरे को टेंशन हो रही है कि कैमरे के सामने ये सब करना है. Now you've given me a script to like now mug up these lines, and so I said, ये please होगा नहीं यार. And then again I said no, and I said, only if you let me write my own stuff, I will do this. And I thought they'll be like, चल अभी जाओ घर. You're asking for too much time. But they were kind enough to like say, ठीक है. Can you come back in a day? I said, give me 2 days then. So after 2 days, I basically wrote like a little script. I planned like an entire act of sorts. And then I went and gave an audition where I had made these characters out of thermocol. I had planned like a whole backdrop. I requested for some materials and stuff. And it was like a whole storytelling session with these puppets where I was not directly facing the camera. I was making the puppet stock, so thoda pressure kam ho gaya tha. But I was obviously, it's almost like, like Sesame Street or like Gully Gully Simpson. It's like that. There are puppets there, so you don't see humans at all unless they're invited to their world. But वो mostly puppets रहते हैं. But I was doing a bit of both. So I would come and say a few lines, but then I would get the puppets in and they would act, things like that. So they loved that. And they said, ab to seal ho gaya hai, aapka naam, you are shortlisted and this is on. Again, थोड़ा stress हो गया था मैं वो सुन के.
Like क्यों कर लिया select? Now I'll actually have to do this.
Correct. I was happy that they really enjoyed everything I did. But,
but there was nervousness behind all of it.
So I was still not sure. And then Jules Fuller, who was the executive producer at that time, he was like, Naya, I want to sit down and talk to you. He was this English-British guy, and he was like, I want to speak to you, Rob. So I was like, okay. And then he made the right decision. He said, we were shooting at famous studios in Mahalakshmi. And there is like this really nice, the race course is there, right? So there's this really nice restaurant, pub, bar, whatever, close to the race course. He said, we'll go there and talk. And then I was right out of M.A.D, right? And I was in Ahmedabad for like 3-4 years, whatever. And Ahmedabad is a dry state. So Bombay aake to, I was young, we used to enjoy going out and having like a chilled beer.
Of course,
so like, we'll go there, have a beer or two. And then after a couple of beers, everything seems like...
God, he got you drunk and convinced you.
Abhi to life perfect hai na. And you can like, it gives you that liquid courage wala scene. Haan, ye to kar sakte hain yaar. And he said, you're good at it, we saw your thing, don't worry, you'll have the right team. There will be people, who will help you, mentor you. And so I was like, let's do it.
Amazing, that's amazing. Did you realize in all those years that the impact that was actually having on the people on the other side of the screen, like watching you create that, they were trying to do that at home, they were telling their parents that they want to make this. Did you realize, did you get a lot of feedback, or you were just doing things?
No, initially, no, not at all. In fact, shuru mein to I was just excited and happy that I got an opportunity like that. But yeah, I also faced certain struggles or challenges, like, in my journey. My parents not being super happy about it or encouraging, that I'm getting into this field of art, because like they wanted like Indian parents ki doctor banna chahiye tha. I didn't have the right tools or resources to figure out ki kahan jana hai, kya karna hai, all of that. So when I got this opportunity, kahin na kahin to tha ki I have to create a show that can become a reference point, that can help people, that can be like, this field also has a lot of opportunities, a lot of streams, a lot of avenues. Ki art mein matlab ye nahi hota ki sir aap painting bana sakte ho. There is photography, there's animation, there's printmaking, there's sculpture. There are a lot of things that you can do. So when I started off, I was like, I want to put all of this into the show to help people understand that, this is a great field or a great medium. So all that was there ki aisa ek show banana. But for me, it was also like a kid in a candy store wala feeling na ki aapko itna bada platform mila hai. You have the tools, you have all the resources. Somebody is paying for that, and you are getting paid to do all of this. And plus to sit with like some amazing people who had full trust in me and gave me like full freedom to design a show like that. So I was very, very excited initially. But I didn't know that, this show is going to create such an impact on so many different lives. I think our first season, jab aaya tha, uske baad I started getting a lot of letters, because back in those days,
ask that,
and these are all like handwritten letters and artworks. So not just like children, but like students and parents and grandparents, and everyone said the same thing, that, we are so glad that a show like this exists, because it's not just mindless entertainment, but it's also teaching people, it's helping people or encouraging people to be more creative. The things you are teaching, and especially like grandparents writing things like, you brought our grandchildren back to us, because they were like, they don't find us important anymore because, they want to do certain things that we don't understand. But now, because of a show, we collect things, we sit together and we build it. And so when you read all of that, you're like, wow, man. Like, so that motivated me, helped me, inspired me to make more and change certain things in the format.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was, I think, like when I started getting the letters, I realized that I want to do more of this. And there was nothing like that on television, right?
Yeah.
This show could have failed miserably. मतलब एक season बना के होता, okay, tata, bye bye.
Yeah.
But it worked, and I think it was needed. लोगों को अच्छा लगा, पसंद आया. मेरे लिए तो इतना ही था कि even if you watch and you are entertained, and आपको कुछ information मिल जाती है show से, I'll be happy. But when I saw people were actually making and building stuff from the show, that was like the biggest reward.
Yeah, and it's amazing what you said, right? That you, at like 26, you received an opportunity and you wanted to make it like a stepping stone for so many other artists who probably don't see it as a career or as like a way to live life. And that is amazing that you had that foresight at that time where you're like, I know my parents probably are not okay with me taking arts. I'm a humanities student, so I mean I get where that is coming from, right? From a parent's POV, but to show them on TV that this is possible, and to set an example that is, and you did it beautifully, and you still receive love from these kind of letters, emails from your fans who used to watch M.A.D.
Very blessed, because I still receive a lot of love, a lot of appreciation, and I get to hear all these amazing stories like what you said right now, that, I meet a lot of people and say, when we saw the show, I showed it to my mother and said, I want to be like this guy. Or like, see, he's showing animation, I want to do this. Or see, he showed printmaking, I want to do this, I want to print my own stuff. Or I want to become a graphic designer, or I want to become a photographer. All of that. So that show became like a reference point, in a way. So yeah, when I meet people and they say they're animators now, photographers now, filmmakers now, and the show played like, a part in their whatever, creative journey, I feel really happy.
Yeah, that is amazing. Yeah, I mean, what a beautiful journey you had. And like, was there like a moment when your parents also came around?
Yeah, of course.
When do you remember, like something they said, something that happened?
Yeah, I think when I started filming, I was in Bombay, and my mom had come down to visit. And this was just when the show had launched, probably like in the first few weeks or months. So there were still like hoardings and things. And I remember my neighbors, they were really fond of me. They saw कि मैं अकेला रहता हूँ सब. So they were sweet enough, kind enough कि कभी-कभी अरे you have come home late. खाना है, खाया है, नहीं है. So they would send food and all like that. So when my mom came down, they were like, okay, we'll take you out. Bombay घुमाएंगे, वो सब करेंगे. And when they used to take her out, they used to take her to all the points where they had put up my hoardings and things like that. So she came back home and she was like so happy and so proud. She went back and she told everyone, and then they used to watch all the episodes and then call me and say, today we saw this. This was nice, and the big picture you made was lovely, and all of that. And then obviously neighbors or people in the society, or my mom used to work for a hospital. So then people would come up to her and say, "It's your son, right? Oh, he makes lovely stuff." And also she used to feel really proud and call me. Today, 6 people came and asked me.
Mera beta famous ho gaya hai.
Correct, like that. So yeah, so that was like maybe the turning point, and they felt happy and proud.
And what was going on like behind the cameras for you? Was it like a lot of intense hard work? Was it like, I mean, you're 25, 26 at this point.
Yeah, it was very, 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 very hectic.
Yeah.
One, because I didn't know how to, though I studied filmmaking and animation, but I was always behind the camera, right?
Yeah.
You're only doing one part of the whatever of the job, like you're one piece of the puzzle in a way. But here I was doing 2-3 things, I was also the creative director for the show. I'm working on the concept. So that work would start months in advance.
Yeah.
And then you would plan like an entire season, then present it to the channel. And then you would figure out what works for the channel, what doesn't work, what would be better for kids, or what we can eliminate, all of that. That entire process used to happen. Then I would build some of the stages or prototypes because we had to save time on the production floor.
Yeah.
Because certain things would take time to dry. If I'm sticking things, you can't wait for 24 hours. Ki abhi kal aake dekhenge. So you had to keep those stages ready.
Yeah.
And that became like a joke or a meme ki ye maine pehle se bana ke rakha hai. Every time you would say maine pehle se bana ke rakha hai. And we had 4 things ready aur hamara to abhi tak bana nahi hai. But all those things I had to, keep ready. So those prototypes, And then after that, we would get into like the stage of sort of writing the lines that I would say.
Yeah.
So planning all of that.
You were still scripting like through all the seasons you scripted?
Yeah. Initially, we got a script writer, but they would write lines that were, one, difficult for me to remember, and two, I used to feel like, I wanted the show to be honest. Like, when you write like very scripted sort of lines,
it doesn't come
naturally. It doesn't come out naturally. It doesn't, And even though they were trying their level best ki mere personality ke saath ye lines work kare, but hota nahi tha.
Yeah.
And wo thoda kuch zyada dramatic ho jata tha. Like I remember we were making like this a foggy scene or something, and then the whole idea was that if you layer it with like butter paper or tracing paper, automatically आपके पीछे के layers जो हैं वो थोड़ा सा blur हो जाएंगे, diffuse हो जाएंगे, so you're creating like a foggy scenes कि शुरू में जो है वो crystal clear है और पीछे का थोड़ा सा foggy होता जा रहा है और diffuse होता जा रहा है, like that. So like a layered art kind of piece. And then उसके लिए I had like thought a few lines that I'll say to just explain the process. And the script writer had written these lines in the morning. I came and I was reading and I was like, कुछ दिन खुश होते हैं, कुछ दिन खुश नहीं होते. जब आपकी आंखें आंसू से भरी होती हैं, and the world seemed, and I was like, ये तो मैं बोल ही नहीं रहा है. Especially आप बच्चों के लिए लिख रहे हो, and then आप ये सब क्या लिख रहे हो, आंसू और रोना और no, but I'm also talking about happy days and I'm also talking about sad days. सबके life में होता है, ये तो एक honest ये है. And I said, I don't think I can say these lines.
Yeah.
And then they would tweak the lines. But then after a point, I was like, let's get rid of the script writer. Thoda extra work hai, but I'll do it myself.
Yeah.
So and also, ये सब lines निकाल देते थे ना, I could focus more on art and technique, which everyone loved because, we would really dissect or break down a certain technique and present it in the simplest form. And that's what people loved, कि इतना आसान है ये बनाना कि मैं भी कर सकता हूँ वाला scene, and that's why people used to attempt. So वो होता था, then we had to shoot, right? So I would get to the studio in the morning और सुबह से रात तक shoot चलता था. And then once the shoot was done, then you would sit with the team, production team, to plan the next day. And that used to go on for days and weeks, and then your edits. So it was a really, really long and hectic process. तो उसके बीच में तो कुछ time मिलता ही नहीं था यार. तो But जैसे ही खत्म होता था, I used to party a lot.
Yeah. I was actually going to ask, if you just take a breather from this, like, in this phase, like especially because now you were very, very popular and people were recognizing you, did you ever feel the pressure to be like the creative guy all the time? Like, I'll tell you where the question is coming from also, right? Like, because I tell stories. So a lot of times when I'm sitting with my family, one relative will tell me a story, and I'll be like, did you ever feel that? Like,
all the time. Abhi bhi hota hai. Yeah. But I think at that time it happened a lot more because, it was very new and everyone saw this guy who could create art out of anything.
Yeah.
So it used to happen a lot and anywhere and everywhere, not just friends or family. It would happen like if I used to visit Goa a lot after my shoot. I used to come here to relax, party, just like recoup. And I remember I was sitting at a cafe and I'd ordered some food and drinks. And then the guy came and was like, wait a minute, you're that guy, like you're that artist. And I was like, yeah. So I said, oh, okay. And he went. And I thought maybe he'll get me another beer or like, oh, chef, send this for you. Kind of like that. To show like love and appreciation. He came back with like scissors and straws. Yeah. And he was like, chalo, like make something.
कुछ
And
करते
I know you can. Like, so वो
Yeah.
expectation तो रहता है, अभी भी रहता है. Wherever I go, people expect कि कुछ भी
Yeah.
उठा के कुछ भी बना लेगा. Like even when I post, hey, I'm going to Japan, or if I'm going to Dubai, they'll be like, oh, can't wait to see a big picture in the sand, in the desert.
Yeah.
I'm like, listen, I'm going for some other job. मतलब ऐसा नहीं है कि जाते ही like, oh, sand, let me create a sculpture.
Yeah.
ऐसा नहीं होएगा.
Yeah.
But yeah, वो expectation रहता है.
Yeah.
शुरू में भी था, अभी भी है. You know.
Did you ever feel in, I mean, all these years that you had like some sort of a creative block where it was just not flowing naturally, or you had a phase where you didn't?
Not really. There are
Yeah.
hard days, of
Hmm.
course, when you find it difficult to figure out, especially if you're working with a client or a client's brief.
Yeah.
You know, that time it happens.
Yeah.
Where you're trying to figure out the best possible solution
Yeah.
for that problem. So there are hard days, tough days where it takes longer to think of an idea, but I
Yeah.
don't think
You've never had like a creative block? That's so what is it? Is there something you do every day to keep that creativity spark alive? Like, is there like, I don't know,
yeah,
a habit that
I say my mantra is observe and absorb. You know, I'm always sort of on, always absorbing information. It's like that. And also like a balance. I think that's very important. Like I said, जैसे मेरा shoot खत्म होता था, I used to come to Goa to take a break. You know, that break is very, very important. You know, when you take that break, आप एक तो थोड़ा reflect कर पाते हो आपने क्या किया है, क्या बनाया है. You know, to look at that from sort of like a new or different perspective, because when you move away is when you see like the entire picture, or you know, so that is very important. Plus, I think I feel there are two major reasons why most people go through this. It's either like overload of information or no information at all. You know, if there is too much information, also there is a lot of clutter, and then you don't know what to do. So you need to clean up that clutter a little bit. I feel like our brain is like a library, you know, with all the ideas stacked like books. So if it's like organized properly and is structured, you can just walk in any aisle and you'll be like, let me just take out this idea for this particular brief. You know, it's like that. So you need to keep filling those gaps with new ideas. So whenever I go out, I'm looking at things, I'm looking at information, or कोई ना कोई idea, inspiration मिल जाता है, and I stack it, you know, and I know कि कब मैं उसको use कर सकता हूँ. And the other thing is, आपके पास कोई information है नहीं, कोई ideas है नहीं. So for that, you need to go out more and collect more information, you know, whether read books, listen to music, watch movies, spend time with friends, I don't know, go to new places, countries, try new food, explore and collect more information, more inspiration, more ideas, and stack that library. You know, if you have that, then I don't think you will ever feel like a creative block. That's why I feel that for me, creative block doesn't exist on me.
Yeah. No, that's a beautiful way to put it. And I read somewhere that basically creativity is almost like a well, and you have to keep it
Filling
keeps
it.
drying out. So you have to keep filling it with
Correct.
either memories or
Correct.
people or, you know, stories in order for it to keep.
Yeah, absolutely. Also, like, I feel, you know, to build your creative muscle, you have to find ways to, or time to, you know, work on it. Like, अगर आपको abs चाहिए तो आपको gym रोज जाना पड़ेगा. You can't be like, okay, I went on Thursday, now I'll go on Sunday. I'm not getting out. You know, it doesn't work like that. So you have to find time every day to do something, even if it's really small. Like, I love doodling. I doodle a lot. Like, even if I'm at a cafe or on the flight, even if I don't have a piece of paper or my sketchbook, I'll doodle on the napkin, or if they give like those paper cups, I'll doodle on that. And that's like my little exercise or habit, you know, just say ki those creative juices keep flowing. And I think that is important, to have like something that you do every day, you know, make that a habit. तो आपका वो creativity चलता रहता है. Yeah.
Well, that's really interesting. And I was actually just going to ask you that, do you think something like this kind of creativity, is it, I know you mentioned that, you know, it's like going to the gym and building a muscle. Do you think it is more innate, or it can be like, it's a skill that can be taught, can be learned?
Yeah, I think it's a skill, but also I feel everyone is creative here, especially Indians. हमारे लिए तो जुगाड़. What is जुगाड़ यार? It's creativity. It's figuring out solutions, to, and I feel creative people are really good at problem solving. तो सब लोगों को तो मैं बोलता हूँ कि like I encourage them to be creative, like figure out something that you like doing, not necessarily art or whatever. Maybe you might be good at writing or something else like photography or cooking or whatever. Find something that you really enjoy doing and do that every day. But you can build on it. You can, if you dedicate a few hours every day to something that you love, आप उसमें डालोगे उतना टाइम तो आपको रिजल्ट्स दिखेंगे.
Like again, something I've been very curious to ask you, like you've been on TV and now the medium has kind of changed to social media, Instagram, and there's a lot of that. And there's so much, like all my like artist friends, poets, storytellers, there's so much algorithm burnout, right? Like there's constant need to feed. How do you deal with that, like on a daily basis? How is that for you?
Yeah, it is tough, but change is the only constant, like they say. So you have to change, you have to evolve, and that's what I've been doing. Like I've been talking about my journey, and you saw like how I didn't know I'll become an artist, and I became an artist. I was thrown into the advertising world, but I jumped out of it to do illustration, and from there I jumped to doing animation. From there I ended up doing television shows, and then while I was doing it, I thought I was good at it and it's doing well. I realized my audience is moving to digital platform. So again, I had to move from one platform to the other to cater to them. So I think वो तो आपको करना ही पड़ता है. You have to evolve, you have to change with the whatever changing times. It's also very interesting because to understand and learn, becomes like, for me, it becomes like a new sort of process. And I feel like you should never stop learning. So I don't also want to be like on autopilot mode, like I know this, abhi to ye hota rahega. With TV, it became after a point, because I did it for so long, it was like, okay, I have to go do my lines, do this, I have to make stages, it became like an autopilot mode. So when I moved to digital, it was very fresh, it was very new, and it was very exciting for me. And plus, like, it's changing at a very, very rapid speed. So I don't think for us, that's why I think it's hectic and difficult, because there is no time, there is no guidebook to sit and go through and go, okay, now this is what I have to do. You have to jump into the water, and learn how to swim. It's kind of like that. But if you can do that, then you can survive anything. And I think why the kind of work I do is still relevant, or I am still relevant, is because I'm adapting so quickly to every medium, every platform. अभी storytelling और छोटा हो गया है, आपको short form में बनाना है. I'll figure out a way to do it and do it my way. I don't want to give in to trends or what's up, but I figure out those trends and I see how I can tweak it to have my own mad, unique twist to it and present it. And it's working. So I think you have to adapt.
Yeah, but like so many years of doing this, like even today when you say create something for an event or a reel or a brand, do you still feel like you're connected to that 8-9-year-old Raw playing with his brother, making those Spider-Man things? Like, do you still get that childlike excitement while doing it, or it's become a little more mechanical and more...
Depends on what I'm doing. But I mostly... I mostly try and think like a child, like for whatever I'm doing. क्योंकि मेरे को लगता है if I can excite or entertain that 8-year-old, 10-year-old, and also like when you think like that, then there are no limitations, to what you can do, because as kids you have no restrictions, inhibitions, you can think more freely. As adults, we have a lot of like guidelines that you have to work in, structure kind of So when I think like that, then I feel like the ideas I come up with are slightly more exciting and more interesting. And that's what sort of excites me. So there is, and like that's why I said, depends on what I'm doing. Sometimes they come to me and they'll be like, oh, we want to create mad, but not mad.
Yeah.
So then it's like, okay, you want me to do the same thing.
Yeah.
But if brands or, they're open to experimenting and exploring, then I get excited because I know I can do something fun for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there something you like refuse to grow out of? Like, this is...
I think doodling, because that I do a lot. And it started when I was a kid. Us time pe notebooks ke piche banata tha. And then it changed to drawing professionally, but also like in meetings I would sit and doodle, or like I said, at coffee shops or airport or whatever. Like I doodle a lot, even during meetings and all. Like something important is going on and I'm doodling away. I was just at a restaurant day for yesterday and they put like a name tag and I picked it up and I doodled on that and kept it.
Oh, we should do a doodling thing after this.
So I find it it's fun and it's liberating, because again, when you're doodling, there is no pressure, right? Like you're not creating a masterpiece that is going to go on a wall or you're selling. It's just like a fun exercise.
Yeah.
So it takes that pressure also off na aapka din bhar ka. And plus, like I said, it keeps the creative juices flowing. So I enjoy doing that a lot. So I think that's never going to stop.
Yeah. That's awesome. If there's somebody watching us who feels like, I'm not creative anymore, I don't have that spark anymore, like what would you tell them?
I'll say just figure out what the problem is, you know. Identify ki kyun ho raha hai. And like I said earlier, like mostly it happens because you're, not taking a break from what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're so busy trying to just create and build, and once you step back, you take a break, is when you understand ki ye kyun ho raha hai.
Yeah.
So it's just that, just for both, like agar information nahi hai or information overload hai, I just say take a break, step out, travel, pick up the phone, talk to your friends, give yourself that break, and then go back to it.
Yeah.
If you do that as an exercise, I'm sure it'll help.
Yeah. And like, what does failure look like in a creative life? Like, is it, like, especially for people watching, maybe, they want to do art, but they haven't been able to commercialize it, or they haven't been able to make money out of it, which is a lot of people out there, right? Is that the real failure? Or do you think if you just stop making art, that is the end game?
Really depends on an individual, but I think failure is part of life. Failure is part of your journey. They say failures are lessons, and it's true, because if you fail, you get to see ki flaws kya hai, problem kya hai. You get that's your feedback in a way, that this is not working out. So you can decide whether you want to pivot at this point because it's not working at all, or you want to make changes, you want to improve upon what you're doing and then present it and see. So you get that opportunity to, again, reflect upon what you're doing. So I think failures are like those speed breakers of sort, not like a dead end. Thoda slow down ho ke aap dekhte ho ki kya problem aa raha hai, and then whether you can tweak it or not, or pivot completely. But failures are important. I think they also keep you grounded, and humble you in some way.
That's so true.
I have had many failures in my life.
Can you talk about like one?
A lot. Even when I'm building things, making things, people see all these really big, larger than life art installations I make, but they don't know how many times I failed doing certain things, or even what you see on screen, at times is not what I had envisioned. Maybe it's just 50% of that. And what you're seeing, maybe I failed at creating what I was, but people don't get to see. But for me, it's a lesson. For me, I know that, like when I used to do those things, we had like a time frame. Ki aapko itni der mein banana hai. You'll get either 8 hours or 12 hours. Or if I'm doing an outdoor art installation, like then you only get, sab sunset ho jayega to aapka chala jayega, like daylight mein aapko shoot karna hai. Otherwise, you'll need another crew, lights, all of that. So us time frame mein jitna ban pata tha, people used to see that on TV. And there were times when I couldn't do it, and those big pictures didn't make it to the episode or screen. So there were times I failed, but people didn't see those big pictures.
Is there something you've created that you would like, it's really close to your heart, but the world hasn't seen?
I had like this idea of sort, This show that I worked on after I left M.A.D. Or stopped filming M.A.D. was a show called Storyteller, which was, I was picking up folk stories from, so like I said, I used to travel a lot. So जब भी shoot खत्म होता था, I used to start traveling. And whenever I would go to a new place, I would try and find a folk story and then try and find like some common links, you know, like north or south mein there are certain stories, they have similar characters or you know, even certain things like when it rains you'll say, oh, iski aur iski shaadi ho rahi hai. You know, like those kind of things. So there like that, there are folk stories where the story is similar but the characters are slightly different, you know. So I used to find that and then I would sketch that in my little journal. And at the end of the episode, I had like a little animated version of this entire story. And the episode was basically me visiting that place, meeting people, collecting the story, going from like the older generation to the new generation, because most of these stories were passed on orally, right? So there were certain things that would either get missed out or by the time it reached the new generation, there were certain tweaks that were made so it caters to them. So that's all of that. And then there was like a little animation film. And also when I left Pogo, I wanted to get back to animation. So I thought this would be a great way to. So that, but, so yeah, I worked on that show, but no one picked it up because it was again a very new sort of idea. And nobody was willing to back it.
I hear you. Maybe someday.
Maybe someday. Now everyone keeps telling me just put it on your YouTube channel or something. I'm like, yeah, maybe. But let's see. Maybe I'll tweak it a little and figure out if I can still make like a proper long format television kind of
show. Yeah, that'll be very cool. Looking forward to that one.
Me too.
Is there something that you want to tell us, that something that you're excited about, something that...
There are things. I'm trying to work on some live formats. I had done like even when this was a while back, but after I stopped M.A.D, but like people still wanted, you know, that show to come back on air. I did another show for Disney, but वो बहुत लोगों ने नहीं देखा. But yeah, so I worked on this idea of sorts, which was like a live show format, like how you have Broadway musicals. This was like an art show, a live art show, a 90-minute show where I would create like all these big pictures or larger than life art pieces live on stage.
So cool.
Yeah, it was a fun show. So we did like a couple of shows down south in Bangalore, in Chennai and all. Everyone loved it. I loved it.
Yeah,
because
please tour with it.
Stage is like, it was called Imaginarium.
Okay.
And yeah, it was a fun show. Also, it was interactive. Everyone was given like a kit. So in the middle of the show, lights would come on, and then we would do something together, which was like a takeaway that after we are done, you know, you have something that you can take home. Plus, there were more tools in your bag, so you can make more stuff. So it was a very, very exciting show. And for me, it was new, so it was even more exciting. And stage has like that, you know, like you get one take. And you have to, so
it's live feedback.
Live feedback. So it's very fulfilling in a way. So I enjoyed that. So I'm trying to work on similar formats. So that was for younger audience and young adults. So the storytelling was kept in such a way that it entertains everyone or caters to everyone. The new formats that I'm working on are primarily for young adults because I feel they are the ones who are consuming my content a lot more now. Because I'm also designing. My content is aged up a little bit. The art that I do now. So I'm working on some of those ideas.
Nice.
Very exciting. I hope early next year I'll surely let you know.
Yeah, please come to Delhi with the show.
Yes.
Would love to be in the audiences, you know. Okay, we have a fun segment in the end. It's called ginger checkout moments. It's like a rapid fire sort of a thing. You ready?
Yes.
Okay, cool. It's not that rapidy. But early morning creativity or late night creativity?
Late night creativity.
Late night creativity.
Always been like that. Yeah. I think most creative people, they. I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but at least in art school also, in design school also, we used to enjoy working in the night.
Yeah.
And plus art agencies, design studios, everyone is working late night.
Yeah,
so
so that makes sense.
I'm a night owl.
Yeah. Would you feel more inspired at Ginger Goa Candolim by the beach or like a Ginger Gangtok, say in the mountains?
I love the mountains, but I love the beach more, I think. So
yeah.
Definitely. Even that's why I decided to move here.
Yeah. But I was going to say, like, after all these years, maybe you'll be like, maybe mountains is the...
No, I think, yeah. I love going to the mountains. I grew up in Delhi, so I used to go to the mountains a lot.
Yeah.
For trekking with friends. But I think I enjoy beaches more.
Yeah. Okay. Background music or just hearing city sounds through the window? What is more inspiring?
Background music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What kind of music do you like listening to?
These days, now I enjoy, like, because I said I'm moved away from like the hustle bustle noise. So I enjoy more alternative, slow.
Yeah.
You know, now I'm slowly going, and for some reason, maybe it's age, going back to the old classics.
Yeah.
You know, trying to find my old vinyls that my dad had. Yeah.
Nice. I was walking around the property and I realized that even like Ginger has some very interesting artwork like in the lobby in these areas. Like I know you mentioned doodling. I don't know if you would want to doodle it, but like, do you think this vibe, like if you had to put it or encapsulate it in like some sort of an artwork, what would it be? Like what comes to your mind?
No, I love the fact that they have so much space and open areas and, you know, like, and I love creating bigger installations, you know, like larger than life. I love working with scales. So looking at open spaces like this, I always feel like if I could place like a big, massive art piece, you know, that people could like enjoy and experience. Yeah. So spaces like this, definitely inspire me or encourage me to think big.
Yeah. So on that note, I have this really cute exercise that I wanted to do with you. So Chandrika here, she's from Ginger. She told me that they have like this artwork in the lobby area which has some hidden things.
Okay.
I don't know what those hidden things are. I think, can we like go there and just find out what those things are?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So this is the artwork and they tell me that there are hidden things in it. They've called some artists to make it. Can we identify? This looks like a bear. Some sort of, like I see like a nose, eyes.
Like that could be like a bird.
Oh yeah, that's a...
No, like
this thing, right? Yeah, like a peacock or a...
Interesting. What else?
What else is there? This looks like a girl with long hair.
Yeah.
You know, this thing.
Oh yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Like the back of a girl.
Girl, yeah, right.
Here you have another bear.
Where?
This one. You see like the little snout.
Oh yeah.
2 eyes.
This is so interesting. Yeah, this is the thing.
Of course, that's the sun.
Sea fly.
Yeah. That looks like, you know, like a female sort of figure. Like sitting like that. See this blue and that blue?
Oh yeah, like somebody sitting like that.
Yeah, head down and hair basically in the front.
Yeah, like I mean, if you look at this also, it looks like eyes, right? Like behind a bush.
Correct. This
one
down,
this part.
Yeah.
What else? I'm missing something very evident. Can you find a dog? Dog?
A dog?
Huh?
A puppy?
Sideways. We identified this as a bear.
Yeah, it's a bear and a puppy.
Acha. This there, one, no? Yeah, this also we identified. Flamingos. Acha, like, this only, na?
This side.
Okay. Yeah, so we were close. We said a bird form.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Even this looks like the brown part, no?
Haan.
Just at the corner of this blue circle.
Haan.
Like a little, like, don't you see like a bull kind of a face? Very like, the front end could be like the snout.
Oh yeah, I see what you mean
And
with
the
the
horn going up
Yeah.
and the ear.
Haan. Oh, I think this is like a great exercise for when
Yeah,
you're maybe a little
I
drunk
used to
also.
do this a lot, like, you know, drawing around the cracks in the wall.
Huh.
It is a fun exercise.
Amazing. No, I think we did a good job.
Great job. Yes.
Thank you.
Rob, this has been such a pleasure. Loved chatting with you, getting to know your journey, and thank you for answering all my questions so beautifully.
Thank you for having me.
And in this process, we completely forgot about all the food.
I was quietly having, like, I took a bite. And
Nice.
the cameras are not on me.
Let's, I think, dive right into it.
Let's do it.
हम जा रहे हैं खाना खाने. आप लोग करो like, share, comment, subscribe. Lots of love to all of you.